And for more, let's cross now to regional correspondent Bastien Renouil in Nairobi. Bastien, what's the latest?
Well, fighting continues in Khartoum and in many major cities around Sudan. According to my sources in Khartoum, well, they say that they can still hear the gunfights, they can still hear gunshots, they can still hear explosions. They say that they saw planes flying over the city all day long, sometimes bombing some areas, probably belonging to the rapid support forces. But it's still difficult to understand exactly what's happening on the ground, who controls what, because both the rapid support forces and the army are claiming to be controlling certain areas. As an example, they both said that they were in control of the presidential palace during the weekend, and we still don't know who is in control over there. We just know that the fighting are still ongoing and that there are a lot of tanks, armored vehicles around this place. And it's the same everywhere in the capital city, especially nearby military bases, nearby the army headquarters, and nearby the presidential palace. That's for Khartoum. And it's the same everywhere else in the country. They have been fighting in the city of Merowe, 200 kilometers north of Khartoum. They have been fighting in Nyala, in al-Bashir, in Darfur, and we don't know what is the situation on the ground.
Don't know what the situation is on the ground, and this is putting the whole region on edge. Sudan is the conduit for South Sudan's oil. I know that many leaders are volunteering their services to act as mediator, including Kenya's president.
Yes, absolutely. Kenya's president, South Sudan president, Djibouti's president. There was a meeting from the Arab League yesterday in Cairo. Many in other countries have offered to mediate, such as France, the US. But for now, it's impossible to understand if it's going to work or not, because the army said that they can't negotiate with Hemeti until the dissolution of the rapid support forces. So my sources on the ground tell me that the only thing that they can expect in the next days are more fighting, is an escalation, because both men are in control of more than 100,000 men. They have many weapons, they're well equipped, they have a lot of money. So there is no reason for them to stop the fighting. So my sources on the ground tell me that they can't expect peace in the next hours, in the next days.
The incorporation of the RSF militias into the military, something that had been planned with this transition to civilian rule, and yet we saw it start to raise tensions. How surprised were people when they saw the fighting break out in earnest?
Well, most of them were not surprised at all. Since 2019, we know that there will be tension at some point between General Hemeti, the head of the Rapid Support Forces, and General al-Buhran, the head of the army, because they were both in charge of leading the country to democracy. And since the beginning, we understood that they had no real reason to leave the power. You know, the military have been in power in Sudan for the past 30 years under Omar al-Bashir rule, and they are very powerful. So there is no reason for them to give the power back to civilians. And we could see these tensions growing during the past few years, and especially during the past months. You were speaking about the integration of the RSF into the army, and Hemeti and Buhran couldn't agree on that. Hemeti didn't want the army to lead the negotiations. He didn't accept the conditions that were brought by both Buhran and the civilians. So that's probably what led to the latest tensions and to the fighting that we see happening now in both Khartoum and the rest of the country.
Bastien Renouil reporting live there from Nairobi. Many thanks for that update, and we'll be